on. Super excited to start today's training. I'm going to share some insane stuff with you guys today that's going to really pinpoint what your shyness is, the specific type of shyness and social anxiety you have, and the antidotes so that you never have to deal with that specific type of anxiety anymore. So just want to know, there's only 4 of us today, so it's a smaller group. 5th guy just came in, and I'm super excited to start. So if you're ready to start today's session, just comment yes so we can get started. And I know you guys are attentive. I know you guys are listening, and you guys are taking action. Yes. Awesome. John says yes. Bikram says yes. All right. Awesome. So John and Bikram say yes. Cool. So let's get started into today's training. Let me share my screen with you guys. All right, perfect. Whenever you guys see my screen, let me know so I know you guys can see this. Just type in the comment section, I can see it, so that we can get started. Okay, Arcel says yes. Big Spline says yes. John says yes. Okay, everyone can see it. Perfect. So today we're going to discuss the 4 types of social anxiety. I have my handy notes right here next to me. This is super important for you guys to know, because a lot of people, when they're trying to overcome social anxiety or social shyness, they go about it all at the same. You know, there's so many courses out there, so many videos out there that will teach you how to overcome this. But the truth is, every single person, based on their personality type, the way they think, the way they do things, they have a specific type of anxiety or social shyness that's stopping them from actually expressing themselves. And once you know which one is the most dominant social shyness that's stopping you, you can actually use the antidote to completely overcome it. And each of them has a completely different antidote. Now, you can use all of them at the same time, and they'll all help. However, if you focus on one, it will specifically overcome that anxiety. So let me see if I can pull up my, where is this? All right, I'm going to, all right, perfect. So social anxiety type number 1. It's called emotional social anxiety. Okay. And this is basically when your state is all over the place. Okay, meaning that you constantly have feelings of panic, okay, within your body. You have feelings of inadequacy. Okay. You don't feel like you're good enough. You feel like you're inadequate in that situation. You feel like you're going to get exposed for being fake, or people knowing the real you. Okay. A lot of times you try to save face, but you tend to leak often. And what I mean by that, and we'll go into all of this in detail, but basically someone who feels emotional social anxiety, when you're actually in an interaction or you're thinking about talking to the girl, there's a lot of times where your body's in a state of panic, your heart's beating fast, you feel like you're not good enough. At any moment, you feel like people are going to be like, oh, this guy's fake, or we know the real him now. And which is like, what does that even fucking mean? And a lot of times you're trying to save face by being cool or acting in a certain way, but there's certain mannerisms that leak out that shows your incongruency to the way that you're acting. So for example, one of the things that I used to do is smiling way too often. okay, or laughing way too often in a conversation. And at some point in the conversation, it would come across as weird because they're like, why the fuck is this guy laughing so much? So that's an emotional social anxiety. It's this feeling that you have to do something to save face, and you're also in your body, you're in a state of panic where you're breathing too fast. Okay, your breathing's fast and shallow. You feel inadequate. You don't feel like you're good enough in that interaction, and you feel like you're going to get exposed. Okay, so let's go on to social anxiety number 2, which is behavioral social anxiety. Okay, behavioral social anxiety. And what behavioral social anxiety looks like is you tend to try to qualify too often, okay? Or you tend to non-qualify. We'll go into all of these. You constantly have inner stories, battles, and overcompensation. So what I mean by this, behavioral social anxiety is, let's say you're in an interaction with a woman or anybody, and you tend to catch yourself overcompensating. And even I had to deal with this throughout my journey. When I overcame emotional social anxiety, the next thing to overcome was behavioral social anxiety, where I would be in a conversation and I necessarily wouldn't have that panic state. However, when I was talking to the girl, I would say, I got a cool car, I got this, I got that. You know, you're talking to a cool guy, and it was this constant state of overcompensation where you're basically constantly telling yourself that you're not enough, and you're actually disqualifying yourself by saying that you're cool, okay? Or the second type of behavioral social anxiety is when you tend to disqualify yourself from the interaction. Okay, you have these inner stories about yourself where, like, oh, that girl's a 10, you know, she's not going to want to talk to me. You know, I'm not wearing the right clothes, or I'm not doing the right this. And a lot of it is based on externals rather than internals. Okay, so if that makes sense, type yes for the 2 types of social anxiety, so I know you guys are following along right now, because we're going to move really, really fast with this stuff. Okay. John says yes. Arcel says yes. Abraham says yes. Vikram says yes. Michael Bill says yes, I'm number 2. Maybe. There's 2 more. Raghu says yes. Okay, cool. So let's get into number 3. Now, number 3 is rational social anxiety. And what rational social anxiety looks like is it's built off of previous reference. It's a lot of times you're making assumptions. You reiterate or future pace. Okay, and we're going to dive deep into these. The worst case, consistently, yeah, worst case, and you create self-fulfilling prophecies and confirmation bias. So the third type of social anxiety is rational social anxiety, and this is when you basically make assumptions before even going into the interaction of how bad it's going to go. And a lot of the times, this is based off of your previous experiences, whether in relationships, whether in throughout your social life, you know, references with women, references with people. Maybe you've had a lot of traumatic experiences. And what happens is before you even go into the interaction, you're already future pacing in your head. You're thinking in the future of the worst case scenario. You never think of the best case scenario. You're constantly thinking of the worst case scenario. Okay, well, if I go in, she's going to reject me. It's going to be awkward. People are going to notice. I'm going to get humiliated. She might throw a drink on me. And what tends to happen with people who have rational social anxiety is they create this self-fulfilling prophecy where, because they think that the worst case scenario is going to happen, their behaviors are actually in alignment and congruence with their thinking. And then it actually ends up happening. So they might think that a girl might reject them, or that when they go into the interaction, she's just going to completely reject them. And they go in expecting it, so their behavior is almost negative, or they're going in putting in 20% effort, and then it ends up happening. And then what happens? There's a confirmation bias in their head. They go, see, I fucking knew it. I knew it. I knew it all along that this was going to happen. Because it's happened in the past, why shouldn't it happen in the future? Okay, so that's rational social anxiety. If that made sense, comment below yes, so we can go into the last one, and last but not least, fourth type. All right. Ramin says yes, Sarsal says yes, Raghu says yes, Vikram, Chris, Abhi. Awesome. Awesome. Great. So let's get into the fourth type of social anxiety, which is situational social anxiety. Okay. And with situational social anxiety, what happens is you tend to follow rules of engagement. And again, we're going to go deeper into this. You tend to hate uncertainty, and you take the not to lose route. So the funny thing about situational anxiety is at certain times you may feel confident. You know, at certain times you may actually feel like you can talk to people easily. At certain times you may feel like you are not actually shy. You can fairly have a conversation very easily with other people. But the thing is that with situational social anxiety, it's easy for you to follow the rules of engagement. You know, go up to a person, give them a shaking hand, say hello, the non-politically correct way of being in a conversation. But with people with situational anxiety is they hate uncertainty. They hate situations where they don't know the rules of engagement. So let's say you are at a formal meeting, right? In a formal meeting, you have no problem with social anxiety. You're like, yeah, I know exactly what to do. I go in there, I shake their hand, I say hello, we have a conversation about the weather, and things are great. But then you go into a club, and all of a sudden, you can't do it. It's like, there's no way I can talk to girls here because I don't know the rules of engagement, and it's uncertain to me, and I don't know how to act. I can't go up to a girl being professional, and therefore I don't know what to do. And people with situational social anxiety tend to take the not to lose route, meaning they play to not to lose rather than playing to win. Okay, when you go into a conversation, instead of actually doing the things that may be risky, that would allow you to take that step further into the interactions, you say, no, I'm going to play it safe because I don't want to fuck this up. Okay, so if that all makes sense, type in yes below so I know you guys understand all of what I'm saying right now. Okay, cool. Yes. Chris says yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Vikram, Abhi, Michael. Yeah. Okay, cool. Perfect. So I want to know what you guys think your primary social anxiety is. So in most social interactions, whoever's trying on the boards, that's great for the weird smiley face. So I want to know what you guys have in terms of your social anxiety. So right now, what is your primary social anxiety? Okay, so when you're going up to a girl, whether you're in a club, daytime environment, and you want to actually talk to people in general, what's your primary one? Is it emotional social anxiety where your body feels something, you get into a state of panic, you feel inadequate, you try to save face, but there's leaks in your behavior? Or is it behavioral where you tend to qualify yourself or have these inner stories and battles and tend to overcompensate? Or are you more of a rational person where you build it off the previous experiences? You say, well, I knew this was going to happen. You know, you go in expecting it to go bad. Or are you more situational where you play it too safe? Okay, you don't want to fuck things up. So comment right now which one you think you are. Okay, so Chris says number 4. Okay, cool. Michael Bills says number 2, behavioral, and then number 1. Okay, and then number 4. Okay, so you understand the pattern. So you tend to qualify, non-qualify yourself, overcompensate, and then that leads you to have a state of panic, and then you basically just, stop taking risks. Okay, cool. 1, 2, and 4. All right, cool. Rational and a bit situational. Cool. So rational is your primary one. All right. Number 3. Okay, rational as well. I think number 1, but I have elements of all. I think they overlap. Okay, cool. Yeah. So which one are you the main primary one? Which one do you feel the most in all situations? Yeah, combination. Okay, Ramin, again, which one is the main primary one? Okay, main primary one. So, cool. If that all makes sense, comment below yes. So I know this all made sense to you guys right now and you understand your primary social anxiety. Yes, yes. Primary would be emotional. Cool. Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, perfect. So let's get into the antidotes for all of them. Okay. So I'm going to delete all of this and let's get into the antidotes for the 4 types of social anxiety. All right, perfect. So for number 1, if you had a emotional social anxiety, the primary one was emotional, okay? The biggest thing that's going to make a massive difference in your social anxiety is breathing exercises. And there is a specific one called the 1-3-2 exercise. Okay. So for people who have emotional social anxiety, if you actually take a second to really figure out, like, in that moment, what's happening, most likely what's happening is your breathing is fast and shallow, okay? And your core is tight. What I mean by this is you're breathing really, really fast, but not deep breaths. And your core right here in your stomach, like literally right here, it's tensed up. And a lot of times you can even feel this in your body. You see this all the time. People will raise their shoulders, they'll cross their arms, they'll put their hands in their pockets, and their body is not open. So the easiest thing you can do is, when you feel that emotional social anxiety, is the 1-3-2 breathing exercise. Okay, so this is how it goes. For every breath you take in, you're going to hold it for a ratio of 3 seconds, or times 3, and then you're going to breathe out for a ratio of times 2. So let's say I breathe in for 3 seconds, okay? So I go, that means I'm going to hold it for 9 seconds before breathing out for 6 seconds. Okay, and you're going to notice that when you do this about 6 to 10 times, okay, you're going to immediately feel your body opening up. And then become aware of your breath. Like, become aware of your body, right? Is it actually tight? If your stomach is tight, start to loosen it up in the interaction. Start to loosen it up. And this is something that, if you guys follow Elliot Hulse, he talks about breathe into your balls. Which is really funny, but it's totally true. You want to breathe into your balls, meaning that your breath is not going to your chest. That's when you're in a state of panic. You're breathing deep into your diaphragm, and it's coming out in a very slow manner. So the 1-3-2 exercise is going to make the biggest difference in your social interactions. Whenever you feel that emotional social anxiety where your body's reacting, just take a second to do the 1-3-2 exercise for 6 to 10 times. Open up your core, okay? And that's going to relax your central nervous system. Because the reason why this happens, again, with your emotional, you're in a state of panic because you feel like you're going to get exposed. And like we talked about, the 3 parts of the brain, right? The rational, the limbic, the reptilian, your instinct starts to kick in with a fight or flight response because you think there is a threat. You think that you're going to die. You think that you're going to get exposed, and therefore your tribe is no longer going to like you, and you're going to be isolated and kicked out of the tribe and eventually be dead. So when that fight or flight response is there, you start breathing fast. And this happens to you. This used to happen to me so much. And the moment that I just took a second to do this 1-3-2 breathing exercise 6 to 10 times, you start to notice, boom, you drop back into that state where you're completely relaxed. So let's try this right now for 1 round, okay? So on the count of 3, you're going to breathe in for as long as you possibly can and make sure to count it. Okay, make sure to count it. So if you do, if you hold it in for 2 seconds, if you breathe in for 2 seconds, you're going to hold that for a ratio of 3, which means you're going to hold that breath for 6, and then you're going to let it out for 4. Okay, does that all make sense? If that makes sense to you guys, say yes so that we can do the exercise together. Okay, everyone's saying yes, yes. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Awesome. So on the count of 3, we're going to do the 1, 3, 2 exercise. All right. 1, 2, 3, start. When everyone is done, take a second. Take a second to just feel how your body feels now. Okay. Cool. So everyone should be done at this moment. Now, what I want you to do is comment in the chat section what you feel after you did that breathing exercise. Do you feel more calm? Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel more happy? What do you feel in this moment? Yeah, relaxed. Yeah, relief, right? Relief, big relief. John, calm, relaxed. Yeah, yeah. Centered, yes. A little light in the head. Yeah, that happens. That's supposed to happen. Okay, because you're actually breathing for once. You're actually getting oxygen into your body. Most of the people, they are breathing in such a state of panic throughout their entire day that they don't even get enough oxygen. People have forgot to breathe. A little light in the head, a load off my shoulder kind of, yeah, lightheaded, Wim Hof, yes. Wim Hof is a great breathing technique as well. Cool. So basically, you guys feel more relaxed, lightheaded. You don't feel as tense. Okay, so that is the antidote. You do that 6 to 10 times when you go out in a social interaction and you feel that emotional anxiety coming out. Okay, so let's go on to number 2, which is behavioral social anxiety. So what's the antidote to the behavioral social anxiety? The biggest thing that I've found to be the antidote to, behavioral, because with behavioral, you're overcompensating, you're trying to look cool, you're either qualifying or disqualifying yourself before you go into the interaction. The biggest thing is vulnerability. Okay? This is the antidote. Now, how do we practice vulnerability? How do we actually use vulnerability so that we can overcome this qualifying, non-qualifying behavior where we have these inner stories and we're overcompensating in our interactions? So the way you use it, and I tell this to all of my high tier clients in the brotherhood, is think, feel, want. Okay? What are you thinking? What do you feel? And what the fuck do you want? Okay, you're going up to this person for a reason. You're going up to this person to really just have a connection or gain something and give something to that person as well. So in that moment, the biggest thing is to tell that person or the girl that you're trying to talk to, what are you thinking? What do you feel? What do you want? So it may look like something like this. You go up to a girl, you're having this behavioral pattern where you're overcompensating or non-qualifying yourself. And in that moment, you're aware of it, you understand that you're doing this, and you stop and you go, you know what? You're actually so pretty, or you're actually so hot, or, let's say you're talking to a celebrity. I actually feel so nervous around you, and I keep thinking that I have to be cool, even though I know I don't have to. And really all I just want to do is connect with you and get to know more about you and possibly even take you out on a date. Boom! In that moment, now you've done something that your brain has been trying to overcompensate. Your brain has been trying to tell you, no, look cool, do this, have this. Oh, I got a cool car, I got this. Or you tend to non-qualify, which means that you go, oh, I'm not good enough for her, whatever. And now you've actually shared your thoughts, feelings, and desires to her without holding back. What do you think this will do in your head? I want you to comment below. What do you think this is going to do in your head? Okay. Just take a few seconds and think of what this does to your head when you actually express. Okay. Make you humble. Yeah. There's definitely a humility factor to it. Okay. What else, guys? What do you think this will do to your head? Rewire and make a new paradigm. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Stop thinking of cool things to say. Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's like you now no longer have that barrier of what you need to be as a man. It's like the entire time you're thinking, I got to be up here. And now all these thoughts, feelings, and desires that you had that you believed to not be good enough, that was down here, boom, you just expressed it. So you have no other place other than to go up. So yeah, stop thinking of cool things to say. Frees me from outcome dependence. Yeah, exactly. So you're no longer dependent on that expectation that you set for yourself. You feel more free, authentic, loosen up. Yes, 100%. Also release pressure. 100%. You release the pressure. Where was this question? Does this not come off as weird? Hey, it could. Like, it literally could. Either the girl is going to really appreciate it and be like, wow, this guy's so fucking real. This guy's so honest. This guy's so authentic that now I'm going to also do the same because of the reciprocity bias in her brain. Or she's going to be like, I don't like that and that's weird. But here's the thing. Even if she does that, now you don't feel that you need to even talk. It's like, if she doesn't like the real me, I don't even want to talk to her anymore. So you feel good enough regardless. Okay. All right. So what about think, feel, see? Yeah. Think, feel, see works as well, right? Before going up to the girl. Yeah. This is what I was thinking. This is what I was feeling. This is what I saw. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's get into number 3. Okay. So with number 3, you have the rational anxiety. And this is what's really built off of, previous experiences, previous traumas, and you tend to have a self-fulfilling prophecy where before you even go into the interaction, you're assuming that it's going to fail, so that then your behaviors are incongruent with your thoughts, and then it actually ends up failing, and then it's just a feedback loop where you go, see, I told you, I told myself. So how do we overcome this? The biggest thing that I found, and again, these are things that I did, okay? These are all things that I did. Because I literally went through stage by stage all these things. Okay, I went through emotional, I overcame emotional, I went through behavioral, and then I overcame behavioral, but then there was some times where it would fail, and then I had rational, where I was like, oh, it's gonna fail anyways. And then this is what I did: presence. And presence is very, very, very simple. You're going to meditate daily for the next 3 months. And in specific, you're going to be meditating either Anapana meditation or Vipassana meditation. Okay, there's nothing that's helped me more than that. It's been absolutely fucking insane, incredible. And when you meditate, it really just grounds you to the present, because the problem with the rational anxiety is that you're constantly thinking of your past and how it's fucked you up. And then you're trying to use that past to go into the future and how it's going to stay consistent. So you've built this ego, this identity behind your past, and then it actually happens in the future because you've built that identity, and it just keeps reiterating that identity even more. So the biggest thing is when you start meditating on a daily basis, and I want you to do it for the next 3 months, start with, if you haven't done it, start with 2 minutes a day. Okay, then up it to 5 minutes a day, then up it to 10 minutes a day, then up it to 30 minutes a day. And this will allow you to start to really become present to the moment and not have to think about your past or the future, and actually be present with the pure facts in front of you. And the pure facts is that you don't know this girl, you don't know what's going to happen, and you don't know what she likes, regardless of what happened to you before in the past. Okay? Another thing you can do is be present on a moment-to-moment basis. Okay, so bioenergetics is great because it gets you into your body. Okay, and I'm not going to go over bioenergetics because that's a whole fucking 3 hours. If you guys want, I might just do an extra call on the 11th day on bioenergetics. But bioenergetics really makes you tap into your body and allows you to become present and also express all those traumas that you're holding back. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's go on to the last, but definitely not least, the fourth one, which is situational anxiety. Okay, situational anxiety. And with situational anxiety is, again, you follow these rules of engagement, etc., etc., and you really just have to overcome your nice guy syndrome, NGS. And the way we do this to overcome this nice guy syndrome with situational anxiety, where you're not being polarizing, you're not taking risks, you're playing to not lose rather than playing to win, is by using polarizing conversations. And the way we do that is with my DTS system. Okay, again, this is what I teach to all my clients right now, which is discover, tease, share. Okay, discover, tease, share. So you're going to discover something about the person or the girl that you're talking to. You're going to tease her, and then you're going to share. Okay, so it may look something like this. And a lot of times when we're discovering, we might use assumptive statements, et cetera, and you might go up to the girl and be like, oh, you look like you're from Texas, whatever, right? You look like you're from Texas. And she might say yes or no, whatever it is. And then you go, if she says yes, you're like, oh my God, I fucking hate people from Texas. Every time I've been to Texas, you guys love your guns. You guys love your wildlife. No, I'm just joking. I actually have a few friends in Texas. This is the share part. I actually have a few friends in Texas. I've always wanted to go because there's so many different farms there, and I just like love horses and yada, yada, yada. So instead of having this conventional, conversation where you're constantly just like, oh, hello, nice to meet you. What do you do for work? Da, 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 da. Now the conversation becomes more polarizing, and you no longer, because you're starting to tease people, it opens up the window for you to actually start to overcome this nice guy syndrome where you're afraid of making risky moves or playing to not lose, okay? So the DTS system is really, really powerful. Like every conversation that you have should be, that's the basic structure that you should follow, okay? So if that made sense, comment below yes, so I know you guys know the antidotes are, okay, yes, 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 awesome, awesome, perfect. So we're going to go into, we got about 5 minutes here, a little bit less than 5 minutes. So we're going to go into a little bit of Q&A right now, starting with Abi. He says, the negative experiences often shadow positive experiences for me to the point where I always feel weird when I get compliments because it's hard to tell whether they are being serious or not. That's why I feel compliments doesn't help that much. Yeah, man, again, this comes again from your lack of presence. This comes again from your lack of you thinking about the past and reiterating the future. So presence is going to be your antidote to this, okay? Awesome. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to take any last minute questions that you guys have. Just put it in the comment section. I'll give you guys a minute or so to think about them. Okay, we'll try these out tomorrow. Awesome. What if for DTS, they say they're not from Texas or whatever you ask? Then you can ask them where they're from, and then they'll say, I'm from here, and then be like, oh my God, even worse. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I love that city, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Actually, I missed what NGS stands for. Nice guy syndrome. Okay, nice guy syndrome is really just playing to not lose because you don't want to stir the pot or you don't want to rock the boat. Okay. Do you recommend day gaming every day as a challenge? No, I don't recommending that. You did a boot camp with me. So on boot camp, yes, when you're doing boot camp, you want to be approaching as many girls as possible. But here's the thing, bro. I taught this to you. You want to build a lifestyle, right? Have different hobbies, interests that you constantly go to that also have a high volume of women so that you can meet them there. And whenever you're doing certain activities, if you see women there, go out and approach them. So let's say you're going out to do shopping or whatever, and you see this super hot girl in line, go and do it. Because now it's spontaneous rather than it being a 30-day pickup challenge where you're constantly going out there with a chicken with his head cut off, approaching women, okay? Michael says, Discover, Tease, Share seems really good for me. For my focus, I have little to no experience with teasing. How do I work on that? Dude, just practice it with your friends. Like practice it with your friends, practice it with family. right? Like the thing about being polarizing is like most people don't know they can get away with so much. They can get away with so much. Like I've looked at girls, and even, you know, Michael, you took an Austin with boot camp, a boot camp with Austin, and I've been out with Austin before where like he'll look at a girl and be like, I fucking can't believe that, you fucking bitch. Like he'll just go completely off, and then you're like, oh, I'm just kidding, and the girl's like, ah. And it's like you can get away with so much in terms of that teasing aspect, and as long as you follow it up with I'm just kidding and you're positive after, boom, people will think you're just kidding. So, and the thing is, when you are actually teasing, they feel that polarizing feel so much to the point where now you, instead of it being, hey, where are you from? Nice conversation. They're like, holy shit, this guy's pulling me towards him because he's so polarizing. So if you want to practice it, man, just like stand in front of a mirror and start to express yourself more, okay? Just like think of different emotions that you can express in front of the mirror and just start expressing them. And that'll definitely help. How do you identify what kind of anxiety you are experiencing? Because the antidotes are different. Think, feel, want versus DTS. Yeah, again, man, this comes down to your primary one, okay? Your primary one. Just focus on your primary anxiety that you're feeling and focus on the antidote to that primary anxiety, okay? Because once you overcome that primary anxiety, the secondary ones and the third one and fourth one will kind of start to overcome itself as well. I feel weird socializing at farmers markets. Yeah, man. I feel weird socializing everywhere. Like, to be honest, like most people don't know this about me. I'm very introverted. I'd rather sit at home and fucking read a book and not talk to anyone. But you're going to have to do it, okay? So either way, understand, again, your primary one, and then use the antidote to overcome it. All right, so that's all the time we have. Super, super fun being with you guys. You get no mission today. You just had to kind of figure that out. And again, tomorrow at 7:30, we're going to hop on and talk. And I'll see you guys soon. All right? Take care.